Wanna talk? So let's talk. Yeah. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk.
Welcome to Talk to Solomon. Thank you for joining us. We are having great conversations on and off the air, and glad you're going to participate. Our co-host today, my friend
Chief Steve.
and my friend Brent Johnson, and our guest is Ned Ryun of the American Majority. Ned, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I don't know how good the connection is, but hope you can hear me.
We can hear you very well, and it's nice to have you back on the show. And how is the American Majority faring these days?
You know, it's doing really well. We've been very, very busy. We just had our 600th in-person training this last weekend, and most of that work really has been in the last 3 years. We just trained our 21,000th person, and over 2,000 of those were candidates. You know, a lot of what American Majority does is identify and train people to run for state and local office, really believing that if we can build that farm team at the local levels, we can create that farm team for higher office. But I'm also of the opinion and of the belief that if we begin to organize as conservatives in as many communities as possible, it will result in a groundswell that will rise from the bottom up and result in national generational change. So, you know, things are going very well. We're staying very busy and seeing a lot of success. You know, recently in Wisconsin, we had about 60 of our candidates that we helped identify and train run for office. Almost 40 of those won. 8 county seats, eight county commissions were included in some of that. Some of the candidates essentially helped take over a school board. So, you know, we're starting to see a lot of success from all the work that we've been putting in for the last couple of years.
Now, the reality is, and I'll get Brent to comment on this in a moment, that one of the reasons we're in the quote-unquote fix we're in is because the left has been doing exactly that. Through unions, through organizations, whether they're homosexual organizations or abortion organizations or environmental organizations or anti-military organizations, wherever they are, they have been working hard to get their people in positions of power, and they've been very successful. So let me start with this question of you, Ned. Have you, in these 21,000 people that you've gotten involved with, and you're not the only people doing this, although you're one of the biggest ones, have we seen 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, or do you have numbers?
Of people that have actually run in one office?
Yes.
We had about 400. Let me share a few anecdotes. In 2010, we had about 400 of our candidates run. Almost 300 won their primary. Of that 300, about 200 won the general. You know, we see them come in crops like I was just sharing in Wisconsin. You know, about 60 of them ran in the spring elections this April in Wisconsin. Almost 40 of them won. So, you know, you're seeing thousands. I wouldn't say tens of thousands. We know that of our activists that we trained, about 10% of them eventually are running for office. But, you know, just so your listeners understand, sure, American Majority is doing this. We are scratching the tip of the iceberg. But so you know what the left is doing, there's the Candidate Project. The Candidate Project is essentially a project of several dozen left organizations, including MoveOn.org, the New Organizing Institute, that have pledged to identify and train over 5,000 candidates, progressive candidates, for state and local office. And they're well on their way to doing it. And so one of the things I tell people about American Majority is, yes, this is what we're doing. Most people on the right are not focused on this. But a lot of people on the left are, because they understand the importance not only of the state and local politics. I mean, there's of the 21 million government employees, guess how many are at the state and local level? 19 million.
Oh, I was going to say nearly 20 million.
Yeah, 19 million. And so you wonder, you know, as you look at Wisconsin right now with the whole the Walker recall, you know, not only are the public sector unions fighting in Wisconsin because they realize the implications of what could take place across the country if Walker, you know, wins and stays in office and continues to implement his reform, but they understand that, you know, it's at the state level where they've really had a lot of inroads that's allowed them to have a national power. And so they realize if they start to lose their hold at the state and local, they're going to lose their power at the national. So, again, what we're doing is not only putting into practice what we say, but hopefully persuading others in the movement to understand not only are there massive amounts of government employees, but there's a massive amount of government spending. In fact, we were just doing a quick survey. There's $4.4 trillion of unfunded pensions and liabilities at the state and local level. And so understanding the importance of that, not only because we have to deal with those issues now, but understanding if we work at these levels and do it right, we bring about that national generational change that, quite frankly, we're experiencing what the progressives put in place 100 years ago. The progressive movement started as a state and local movement, built from the bottom up, brought about national change because they changed essentially the American government, and by doing that, changed our society, and we're still experiencing that 100 years later. I want to reverse engineer that.
Well said. Brent, your thoughts?
My thought is that, and what Ned has said, and by the way, Ned, I still have a soundbite from an interview I did with you on the Global Freedom Report that I periodically play. I'll see if I can dig it out while you're still on the air. Because, again, what you say makes so much sense and is very insightful. I think that you, Stan, said something a moment ago about how the left tend to be going big time after controlling the politics. You didn't put in those words, but that's essentially what you said. The political landscape has become, in the last 10, 20 years, much more of a battleground, in my opinion. And the unscrupulous out there make no bones about fighting this, fighting for power, doing anything they can do to gain power. That's what you have here. You have a lot of people who want power. They want control over others, and they will go to extraordinary lengths to accomplish it. Now, then you have a bunch of people who just plain want to, hey, I want to be an American, I want to be a patriot, I want to live free, who don't really want to go out there and tell other people what to do, but they don't want to be told what to do themselves. They tend to be less go for the jugular than these power-mad individuals. And for that reason, I think you tend to see a lot of the people, a lot of the what you would call the liberal extremists, go out there and do absolutely horrible things to achieve their goals. I hate to say it, but I think that we need to employ a bit more, not unscrupulous tactics, but we have to be a bit more willing to engage the battle, not just go out there and say, hey, this is what I believe, and if you believe what I believe, come on board with me. I really think we have to see that there is a battle going on in the political landscape, and the way they're fighting, I'm not suggesting two wrongs make a right. I'm not suggesting we do what they're doing, but I am suggesting that we see it as a battleground and that we fight for the issues in which we believe, because they're fighting to take control over everything.
Well said.
No, I would agree 100% with those comments. Just having, I study the left, and we live by a different moral and ethical standard than most on the left do, but when and where I can take their political tactics, their sound political tactics, and apply them against them, we do that. But you're right. They conservatives, for the most part, they are raising families. They are, if not owning businesses, they're working at their jobs. They've got so much that they want to do. In fact, most of them just want to be left alone to pursue their family and pursue their dreams and pursue everything that's in front of them. And whereas the left is truly of the opinion, first of all, they have organized themselves very well to win politically, and those who win politically get to implement the policy. But for them, it is a 24/7, 365 days a year process. And one of the advantages that the left has had, and that we're hoping with American Majority and hopefully getting others involved as well, is we're trying to have that same constant 24/7, 365 days a year presence to push back against them, because it is a constant struggle. I think one of the things that, not to be depressing to those listening, but this is a long term. This is a 100-year war. This isn't going to end in 1 or 2 election cycles. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 elections, and even then, at that point, you'll never conclusively win. You'll hold the high ground, and I hope we hold the high ground for several generations. But it's a battle that can never truly be won, and should we gain the high ground, we have to then renew leadership behind us and give them the mantle and give them the tools to keep the fight going.
All right, let me get.
I hope conservatives can change their paradigm, do a paradigm shift in this entire approach to politics.
Ned, let me get Chief in here because he's had this very same mantra. Chief?
Well, I read a book by David Horowitz called How to Beat the Democrats. And in that book, he describes the difference in philosophy between Democrats and Republicans, where Democrats treat elections like a war and Republicans treat them like a debate. And so after then, I've always put political arguments into that context, like Hitler versus Patton and what would happen. It makes a tremendous difference in your thinking when you think like that. But I want to add this, too, that we're also battling the GOP establishment because they do not care what the issues are. They only care about getting people elected. So whether or not the office holders are voting in the way the people should have them vote, it's irrelevant to them. They just want to maintain power. Current election here in Indiana was just recently held in the primary with Richard Lugar and Richard Murdoch.
That's right.
And Richard Lugar was the establishment candidate, which the GOP was backing dramatically because they just wanted to have the office. They didn't care about how Richard Lugar voted. And so we're also battling not the Democrats, but also the GOP establishment.
No, I would completely agree with that because, my philosophy is that parties. Well, listen, for the most, we're going to be a two dominant party system for the foreseeable future. But these parties are creatures of compromise. If they're not in power, they want to get back. If they are in power, they want to hold on to it. Their power base is that their incumbents win again and again. They don't want to see their incumbents challenged. And so, we teach the philosophy. It's really why we do what we do is not only building a farm team, but breaking the ruling class of longtime incumbents at all levels of government, because studies have shown the longer you are in office, the more prone you are to grow government and increase government spending. The longer you're in office, you lose connection with your constituents. You start to come under the sway of leadership at the state capitol or in D.C. You start to come under the sway of what I call the cronies, the lobbyists who are trying to push their special projects to increase government spending. People do that because they want to get money to get reelected to stay in office. And so we really want to break that cycle of the long-time ruling class incumbents and begin to put more and more people into office that actually reflect we the people and our values and are responsive and accountable to the people, not the leadership of the lobbyists. And so, I'm realistic. There's going to be a two-party system. I think some of us are going to have to go inside the party system. There's going to have the people stay outside the party system. And again, it's not going to change overnight. And I hope that people understand that, post-2012, the battle continues. There's spring elections in 2013. There's fall elections in 2013. And just understand.
Well, that's well said, Ned, because
it's going to be a long fight.
After Reagan was elected, a lot of people felt like we had won, and they dropped their guard, and you see what has happened since. You can never, I don't want anyone to say I'm accusing people of being rattlesnakes, because the rattlesnakes would probably sue me, but the fact is, you can never trust a godless person. It's just that simple. Now, I want to bring up a couple topics, and we'll go around the horn here.
Let me just add this real quick.
All right.
Also, the liberals, they never stop. Whether they win or lose, they're right back at it, right back at their agenda, and also they're willing to throw money at their cause, and they know that money is gone. So they donate money to a politician or whatever, they know that money's gone. But conservatives, on the other hand, they're business-oriented. They want a return on their investment, which will never happen in politics. So we must also encourage people to donate money to candidates that think like they think and want to get their agenda accomplished, because we're fighting that on the liberal side.
All right, listen to this.
And one other comment, if I may, Stan.
All right, go ahead.
Just one other comment, which is that what Ned just described is what Andrew Napolitano calls Potomac fever. Good people who go into office intending to do good things, who get perverted by the sickness that is in Washington.
And that's because, well said, Brent, it's because we forget our job is not to get the right people elected. Our job is to get the right people elected and to make damn sure they know that we got them elected. and to stay on them. Because
Right.
too many in this country think if you vote once every 2 years or once every 4 years or even once every year, you've done your job. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. That's not your job. Your job is to work to get the right people in and then to work to make sure the right people stay right and do the right job. Now,
Exactly.
let me get to
sharing.
Time out, everybody. I want to get to this point before we run out of time. A proposed civil rights ordinance in Jacksonville, Florida, would allow people, listen to this, to literally walk down the street, take a piece of paper out of their pocket, and say, this morning I was a guy, now I'm a girl, and then walk in a ladies' restroom. Or this morning I was a girl, now I'm a guy, and walk in a men's shower. That's the insanity that we have because we've let morons, lunatics, and imbeciles, and I'm just trying to be as nice as I can be here, be in positions of making decisions when they shouldn't be left alone with a shower curtain and toilet paper. It drives me insane. Now, I'm going to start with you, Chief. Would I be found guilty of a crime if I would strangle them with the shower curtain and clean up with the toilet paper?
Are there any witnesses?
No.
Maybe not.
Okay.
But being a law and order guy, the thing that I see that's really wrong is this is saying that one person's desires overrides everyone else's rights and abilities to have privacy and have their own lives in their own hands. So we have tipped the scales the very wrong way. While we should be tolerant of people's, this is America, people have the right to free speech and other issues, but we cannot let one person's desires or actions override all of society, or especially the safety of our children.
Brett?
Well, I completely, you know how I'm going to feel about this, and I completely agree with the chief on that. I do have to put a little codicil in. They would say public restrooms are not private areas. That's what they would say. No, this goes back to, this goes back to the basic issue. You're right, Stan. You said it exactly. Insanity. The missing element here. The issue, of course, is that there's no standards, no morals. But the missing element, and this is what really nobody wants to look at, except maybe me. Nobody wants to see it. The missing element is that in the United States of America, the people under God are the rulers of the country. The government is the people's public servants. Rulers, servants. Remember, we come from Old England, two-class system, aristocracy, commoners. We go to America, it was reversed. We are the aristocracy. The government are the commoners. And so what we're missing is the people saying, we will not comply, we will not obey, we will not permit this. You have no authority to enact a law of this type. We will not recognize it, we will not pay a ticket or pay a fine for violating it, and you will not put us in jail for standing up against it. That's the element that was present in 1776 that is missing today.
Well said. Ned?
Well, I basically sum it up as the death of common sense. As you look around and see things like this taking place, or, I even saw today, Health and Human Services has now hired a PR firm to use $20 million in taxpayer dollars to promote Obamacare to the taxpayers whose money they're using to promote Obamacare too. And it's like, really? So you look around and realize it's a death of common sense. If people were to step back and think all of these things through, whether it's this issue in Jacksonville, whether it's this issue with Obamacare, and realize, wait, does this make sense? It doesn't. But the problem that we're having, it's the people that show up that get to make the decisions. And so I think the American people, obviously, as we saw with the Tea Party and the 9/12 movement, they're starting to wake up. They're still very much awake. But the reason that they woke up is they realized, wait a minute, these people are making decisions that we disagree with, that are not in our interest. They're in their interest. They're making decisions that we don't fundamentally agree with. But the only problem is the American people have been asleep for so long. These people have become entrenched. And once they've become entrenched, it takes a while to, take them out, root them out. So again, not to sound like a broken record, it's going to take a while. But if we put our hands to the plow or nose to the grindstone and do the right things, organizing our local communities, running people for local office, we're not going to see some of these decisions being made in the future Because as we get the right people elected, politics is policy, and then hold them accountable, you're going to see more policy enacted that reflects the will of the American people, because the American people are more engaged in the process.
Well said. In fact, I've an answer for this situation in Jacksonville. Every establishment, every location should have 3 restrooms. One for men, one for women, and one for those who haven't figured out or don't want to figure out or have problems figuring out what the hell they are, so they can go in the 3rd restroom marked wackos, weirdos, and wet wipes. Well, we'll just give them the wet wipes for the wackos.
No, that's pandering to them, Stamp. That's pandering to them. That encourages them.
Well, that's only you haven't heard the rest of the story. You've heard these restrooms that automatically clean themselves. If you go in restroom number 3, the automatic clean button comes on, and when you come out, well, at the very least, you're clean. And hopefully, you have figured out what you are. All right. Ned, I want to give the last few minutes here to the American majority. Talk to us about where you are, what the plans are, how people can contribute or participate and help to make a part of every responsible person's budget, as Chief Steve said, investing in the future of their country.
Well, a couple things. They can find out more about American Majority at AmericanMajority.org. Go to the website. If they want to have us come in and do a training, they can email us info@AmericanMajority.org. Again, when they come to the website, they can look at our resource page. There's a lot of great resources, podcasts, manuals. We voiced over some prezzies so that they can have some materials online. The other thing I was going to tell people, those that are listening that might be NASCAR fans, American Majority has done a pretty big project this year, American Majority Racing. We figured there's 75 million NASCAR fans who tend to be conservative. They're passionate, they're patriotic, they're loyal. But even those that are registered, 20 to 30% of them will vote sometimes to never in presidential elections. So we started a little NASCAR project. We've got a car on the track, the entire nationwide series, and we're doing activations on Vendors Row at 20 of those different tracks. So, AmericanMajority.org is the main website, but if people want to find out more about our efforts to engage NASCAR fans, they can go to AmericanMajorityRacing.com. And the whole point is pledgetovote.com, keep America free. And so we're encouraging people, if you're registered to vote, pledge to vote to keep America free. If you're not registered, get registered, be engaged. We're starting to really engage people in a dialogue. If you're not happy where you're at as an individual with your personal finances, if you're not happy where this country's going, you've got to be engaged in the process. And that first step is to actually vote. It's a very simple process, but too many people don't vote. And so we're trying to engage as many of the NASCAR fans as possible. So AmericanMajority.org, AmericanMajorityRacing.com, and even pledgetovote.com as well. So some big projects, a lot going on. Even this last weekend we did 5 trainings on the same day. So I encourage people. We've got a lot going on. We want to engage with as many people as possible because, again, there's a lot at stake, future of the country, not only for ourselves but our children as well.
Well, Ned, we thank you so much for what you do. God bless you and God protect you as you move forward. I think that it is interesting that in Florida, they did some research and found 53 people who had died who were still on the voting rolls.
50,000.
Yeah,
I know.
And in Texas, they went through 25,000 new registrations. Of the 25,000, only 1,700 were real people. The other 23,300 were all phonies. We have a major problem in this country, not of our side being inactive, but the other side being, shall we say, proactive to the point that they will lie, cheat, and steal. Now, you're not supposed to say that, but I will.
Well, I would look at it this way, as the 53,000 dead people in Florida, there's also 180,000 non-citizens registered to vote in Florida. If we can curtail some of that and tamp down that and then get more of our people to be engaged in the process, between those two things, good things are going to happen for us, not only in 2012, but in the years to come.
That's the key. Ned Ryun, thank you so much. American Majority. Brent Johnson, Chief Steve and I will be back shortly. Everyone, stay tuned.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey folks, this is Stan Solomon, and I talk to smart people all the time. I've got one of the smartest people around on how to make money from home. His name is Ted Williams, and Ted, well, it's a tough economy out there.
It is, but if you've got the right vehicle and some good advice, you can make it even in this economy.
All right. Well, how can you make money in this economy if you don't have money already?
Well, I tell people right now that in this economy there are really two businesses that I would say work good times, bad times. And the first one costs several $1 million to get involved in, and that's necessity food. You know, you go to the grocery store, people are going to eat. It doesn't matter. We're gonna do that. But can you imagine or think for a minute, what is the other business that everybody's involved in?
Well, let me think for just a minute. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody lives based on a cell phone. In fact, I don't know anyone that doesn't have one, but cell phone business is expensive to get into.
Well, it is if you're buying a brick and mortar store and you want to tie yourself to a conventional business, have inventory, overhead, theft, all the stuff that goes with it, and then you have an opportunity with our business opportunity to for under $300 to be able to operate in 50 states and all the U.S. territories and soon to be international.
Now, wait a minute. Is this one of those deals where you can only talk between 8:15 and 8:22 at night on Tuesdays?
No, this is actually running on one of the nation's largest nationwide networks, and we even have roaming for those people that are traveling between major highways, and we have the top-of-the-line phones. We've got some of the best Android phones, the newest Android phones that have come out on the market, as well as some simple flip phones for people that's all they want to do is talk.
Now, how does the fee for this service compare with the major companies?
Well, right now, if you get all of the service and you use a lot of internet or a lot of data, you can easily spend $150 a month. In fact, some of the companies that are advertising unlimited data are actually giving you unlimited data, but the first gig is high speed, then they slow it down to 56K. You can't even use it. It's unlimited, but you can't use it. With ours, it's truly unlimited talk, text, and web, and the great thing with us, you can develop a business and earn free service for the rest of your life.
Can you earn more than free service? That saves you $100, $150 a month, but that's only the start, right?
Obviously, there's a lot of income opportunity if you want to treat it as a real business. And you know, at under $300 to get started, we have a fast start program for our representatives where they can recoup their investment in their first month if they just are serious. We also have a unique feature. Knowing what we're talking about, if you had a friend and you're not a representative, but you are earning free cell phone service, wouldn't you tell your friends about it?
Especially if it would help me to keep that free service.
Well, what we have is a program where you can refer a few friends, even if you're not a representative. You could be a customer, and you refer a few friends or family members that get our service. That would earn you free service. So our representatives can get it as well as our customers.
So you're saying with a national competitive company, you have the ability to give unlimited, true unlimited service with the latest and greatest phones or less if that's what you want, and that not only can you have free service, but all your customers can have free service by referring people, and I assume if they're your customers, then you make some override, right?
Absolutely. You can actually have a network of representatives that you're earning overrides on, as well as their customers, and you benefiting financially from that. So it's big money at a low cost and low investment, and all the tax advantages of being self-employed and write your own schedule.
This is not a brand new company that just trying this out. This is a proven, publicly traded, high-quality company?
Yeah, they've been in the telecom industry for over 18 years. And, you know, just having money will not get you in the cell phone, in the wholesale cell phone game. There's 3 or 4 companies that dominate, and they won't give up any of their share with someone with no experience. Our company has been involved in data billing, customer service in the telecom industry for years and years, and we were the first in the market at the wholesale level.
Folks, this is an exciting opportunity, maybe for you. We can't tell you what's right or wrong. There's a phone number you can call, 800-299-8362, or you can go to cpnlive.com and click on the icon that says Make Money from Home, and all the information will be there. Ted, thanks so much.
Thank you.